Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm going to get us set up for a good conversation this morning. I want us to have a discussion that is going to elevate the previous discussion. I want to say what's up to everybody who enjoys coming on to Dr. Boyce TV. This is the home of intelligent Black people. This is where we like to have conversations that are raw and real. And y'all know I like to tell the truth, even I don't care if it gets me in trouble or not. At the same time, I want to be honest, and I want to be which is what you're supposed to do when you tell the truth. I also want to be thoughtful. I want us to come to insights, that will help us make sense of this crazy world we live in. And as I get started, I want to say good morning to Derek and Impal and Rafiki and everybody else. And I'm going to invite the rest of the family in through a text message. I'm about to send out a text message right now. If you want to get a text notification when we go live, text the word Boyce to 31996. The reason it's important to get on the text list is because sometimes YouTube trips. Sometimes YouTube does not send out notifications. And if we have our own channel of distribution, our own pathway to reach you, then that means we can make sure you're invited without hoping that YouTube decides they're going to do the right thing. These digital technology platforms are very dangerous. When it comes to new Black media, you cannot depend on them. We have to have a lot of different ways to connect. So that's what they call, in finance, we call that diversification. You diversify your investments so that if one thing goes bad, you got a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. That's why that's why a lot of little Black boys struggle when they get older, because they don't diversify. They put all their energy into maybe trying to become a rapper or trying to become an athlete or whatever. And then when that doesn't work out, they don't have a plan B. They never took time to get education. They never learned how to start a business. They never picked up any skill. They never learned how to be successful in any other area. So they end up 26 years old with, bad knees and a fifth grade reading level. And then now your woman's looking at you crazy because you can't pay no bills. You end up looking like R. Kelly sitting up in court in child support charges because you can't take care of your kids. Why? Well, because you didn't plan, you didn't get an education. So get that plan B. Plan B stands for Plan Black. Now, some of you were just asking for the text number again. The text number is 31996. Just text the word Boyce, my name Boyce, to 31996. And you guys give me a second. I want to grab a cord to connect because it looks like this phone. I guess I didn't charge it up good last night, and I don't want it to go out on you guys. So let me, as I pull this out, let me go ahead and start the conversation here. I really wanted to know kind of what Black people were thinking about this whole R. Kelly thing. I think it's important because the image of the Black man, how the Black man is portrayed in media, it affects all of us, right? It affects all of us. It affects me, you, it affects your nephew, your son, your husband. It affects Black men everywhere. Anybody who believes that Black men everywhere are not affected by the way Black men are portrayed on CBS is out of their mind. These big media platforms that portray an image of Black people around the world that may or may not be accurate, they affect how people look at you. When a Black boy gets shot by the cops, a lot of times the reason he gets shot by the cops is because that cop has spent years being brainwashed into being afraid of that Black boy. He spent years learning how to fear Black males. They've been fearing Black males since we got off the slave ship. And so the R. Kelly portrayal, it affects all of us because, you've got this big image. I saw an image this morning. I was watching, I turned on CBS for a minute, see what they was talking about today. And there was an image of R. Kelly and his mugshot. And so there's this image of this Black man with a mugshot, and it said $161,000 in child support. And that, and I mean, child support is real. I'm an 18-year veteran of the child support system. I probably pay enough child support to fund the budget of NASA for an entire year. I paid a hell of a lot. I think I paid $1,200 a month, which was an insane amount of money. And I think the difference with me and R. Kelly might be that after I had that one baby out of wedlock, I said, I'm not doing this no more because I don't want to be broke. I don't want to give up all my money because of because of what I did with my penis. And so anyway, R. Kelly, we know he's right now. Last I checked, he's in jail over some child support stuff. And that's his situation. That's his issue. Ain't nobody in here defending R. Kelly. I want to make sure that that's 100% abundantly clear. I'm defending truth. I'm defending justice. I'm not defending R. Kelly. So if you're here, if you're a person that believes R. Kelly ain't never had sex with an underage girl, then I would argue, I would differ with you. If you believe R. Kelly is a guy who has lived a model life as a model citizen, I would beg to differ with you. If you're a person that believes he's a good person and that he does everything the right way, I don't agree with that. But remember, you can defend the truth. You can defend justice. You can defend fairness without defending R. Kelly. And so Delta Root says, I believe R. Kelly. Okay, well, I think that's a good point, right, that you're making, right? The question is, what do you believe? Like, what do you believe from R. Kelly? Do we believe R. Kelly? Yes, some of us. I mean, I think all of us should believe R. Kelly to a point. I think that a lot of us should not believe R. Kelly to a point. So, for example, when Gayle King says, have you ever had sex with an underage girl? And he's like, absolutely not. Well, I mean, come on, man. Really, bro. Really? Come on, man. No, we know that's not true. We know, I mean, the man married Aaliyah when she was 15 and he was on a tape having sex with a little girl. So yes, he did do that. He did do those things. I believe he did those things. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, the issue steps in when you dig deeper into it in terms of how his behavior is portrayed by white media, which I believe is racist. The issue comes up when you dig into how his current situations with women is connected. How the past. Which again, he did have his trial. He did, as he said, he was right. He said, I beat the case. But then again, he's got other cases that he might not beat, and whatever it is what it is. But how that past is used to anchor down the present, right? So what they'll do is they give additional weight to accusations in the present by using the past. Which ironically is very interesting, right? Now imagine if I did that, to a woman who accused a man of rape. Imagine if a woman says that man raped me. And imagine if I go back and I say, well, if you look at her past, look at 8 years ago, she was arrested for stealing a can of beans, and she's a hoe. And and look at her past, look at her past. So given her past is so questionable, there's no way she's telling the truth right now. She's definitely lying right now. I can't do that. I shouldn't do that. Right now, I can weigh the past in terms of interpreting how I interpret the present. I think that's okay. I think it's okay to look at R. Kelly's past when you're examining the entirety of R. Kelly. But this idea of sort of saying that, because we know that he, slept with some girls that were 17, 16, 15, even younger than that. We also know that he must have 47 women locked up in a closet in his basement where he's making them pee in a bucket and eat manure for breakfast every day, right? Like it's that interesting thing. And what's sort of happening is, as the media is trying to say, we really want you to hate this guy, the documentaries, like, we want you to be afraid of him. What they're doing is they're kind of embellishing it a little bit, the way you embellish like a meal. Like I went out to eat dinner last night at this restaurant. They pretty much gave me like steak and potatoes, but they put this extra shit all around it to decorate the plate. They had a little parsley and little the restaurant had a certain ambiance, and the guy would come with this thing on his arm. It was a fancy restaurant, like Shea Whitey from Homie the Clown. Remember that? Shea Whitey on Living Color. So they did these things to embellish it, to make me look at this steak and potatoes differently from the way I would look at a regular steak and potatoes. And I was laughing. I said, this is so funny because just yesterday I ate the exact same thing, but it came in like a regular little wrapping and it wasn't fancy. And I didn't see it in the same way as I see this fancy plate that's in front of me. So I think that with R. Kelly, that's what it is. With R. Kelly, a lot of the racism comes in when you're not just looking at how the whole situation is being discussed in white media, but also how his alleged crimes, his alleged indiscretions are viewed relative to what's happening in the world, how they're viewed in comparison to all the white pedophiles in Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood is known for having pedophiles. In fact, let me show you guys something I dug up last night. I was digging. I'm going to tell you guys about a survey and a poll that we took last night also. So you'll find that interesting too. But by the way, as I dig this up, please do me a favor. Please hit that thumbs up button right quick. Hit the thumbs up button. It's very important for us in terms of reaching and giving our side of the story. So please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, subscribe, all that stuff. And I want to say good morning to everybody on Instagram at The Real Boyce Watkins and everybody on Dr. Boyce TV on YouTube. All right, so look at this. Check this out. All right, so if you're on Dr. Boyce TV, you'll see the screenshot where you'll see this image of these 3 of the 7 pedophiles in Hollywood, all white males, who were named in a documentary called An Open Secret. An Open Secret was a documentary done by a guy named Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman has been on a crusade, in which he has spent years trying to expose the massive, consistent pedophile rings that exist in Hollywood. So in An Open Secret, I'm not even going to read, I can't read this whole article because it's very, very long. But one of the things that they mentioned in this article is that when Corey Feldman has gone to CBS, where Gayle King works, and other networks, they have pretty much shut him down. They have pretty much not allowed him to have these, to have these conversations on their mainstream media outlets. And so the question becomes why? Why do you have R. Kelly plastered all over your network, but you're not plastering up the people that are consistently harming children, people who are raping, they probably raped a child last night. They're raping children right now as we speak. And we know R. Kelly ain't raping no kids because he's in jail. Okay, so y'all dealt with the R. Kelly problem. Y'all apparently you fixed half the earth by getting the black man. But I'm trying to figure out what is going on with these white guys, many of whom are gay. And I think that's part of the reason, that's part of it too, it's part of that gay agenda. Because they're part of the LGBT community, I don't think they had to deal with the stigma and what people saw as a realistic connection between between homosexuality and pedophilia. It does not mean every gay person is a pedophile. We know that's not true, but we know that there is an extensive amount of pedophilia that happens in the gay community, and they don't want to touch that. They don't want to touch pedophilia if you're gay, if you're white, or if you're Jewish. They don't want to touch that. So what I would encourage you all to do is go look up the documentaries called An Open Secret. And Corey Feldman says that when he presented this documentary and tried to get distribution to Hollywood, he said nobody would touch it. He said nobody would support it. He said nobody would release it. Nobody would put it in their theaters. Why? Well, because that behavior is so widespread that everybody is connected to somebody who's doing all of this stuff, including many of the black celebrities that you know and you love. I'm sitting here looking at John Legend, and I'm just kind of curious. I'm like, hey, bro, okay, I understand your issue with R. Kelly and Michael Jackson. You brought that up. Good job. Okay, you saved some, maybe you saved some kids. Michael Jackson is a dead man. I don't know how many kids he's going to molest in the grave, but okay, you did your job. Good for you. Why are you not stepping out here and dealing with the big targets? You're right there in Hollywood. You can't tell me you don't know anybody who's connected to some of these pedophile rings. You got other people, and let's go back. If you go back to the R. Kelly thing, and you say, let's go under the assumption that R. Kelly has slept with an underage girl at some point in his life, or more than one. The man, he might be a big old freak. He seems like he really has an interesting sex life. Very interesting, disturbingly interesting. How much money would any of you bet? And I want y'all to answer this question for me. How much money would you be willing to put on the line to bet that Bill Clinton has never slept with an underage girl? How much money would you put on the line to bet that Bill Clinton has never slept with an underage girl? Because Bill Clinton's been accused of rape, in case you don't know. There's several women that have accused him of rape. How many of y'all would bet money that, let's go black again? people like Jay-Z, how many of y'all would bet Jay-Z ain't never slept with an underage girl? How many of y'all wouldn't bet that there's a lot of people in Hollywood and other places that have done things like that in the past? Right. So I think we got to kind of, if we're going to be intelligent about this, again, this is for intelligent Black people. This is for people that really want to be cerebral about it, not people that want to be just emotional. Let's just be clear about this. We know he ain't the only one. Right? We know he ain't the only one. I remember hearing a story a long time ago, back in the day, where somebody was telling me about Antoine Walker. I went to college with Antoine Walker, who played for the Chicago. I think he played for the Bulls and the Heat and the Celtics. That's what it was, and some other teams. Anyway, I remember somebody telling me like, yeah, they, after the game, he'll hang out with Michael Jordan, and then him and Michael Jordan will go to R. Kelly's house and play basketball. And this is a story I heard a long time ago, and so it made me just think about all the people that that were friends with R. Kelly, all the people that hung out with him, all the people that did dirt with him. And, and I just find it utterly interesting and fascinating that we're able to sort of spotlight this one person as if he's a complete outlier, when the reality is that he's not. The reality is that, R. Kelly, if you look at the way his life is described, and again, not defending this man at all, because I don't even agree with this. I'm just giving you all the what I'm seeing here. He's a reflection of pimp culture and a lot of hip hop culture. He's a reflection of in the 90s when hip hop went left and they turned hip hop into a weapon of mass destruction for Black people. And you started having rappers saying things like, "We don't love these hoes." You had Snoop Dogg run around with Bishop Magic Don Juan, who was a legit pimp, a straight up pimp. And their whole motto was, "We have no respect for women. We hate women. We don't love these hoes." And people love that. Women like that. Men like that. I don't know why. I didn't understand it, but it was what it was, right? And so ultimately, that whole pimp and hoes culture, so to speak, to use that terminology, that whole pimp and hoes culture kind of came out of this mainstream entertainment that was actually supported and financed by whites and Jews. Black people weren't really the ones marketing this shit. Black people weren't the ones putting this on radio stations. Black people were not the ones who owned the channels of distribution for these ideologies. We just were affected by it, right? So let me tell you guys about this. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button while I dig this up. I'm gonna dig something up real quick. Also, I want to let you guys know, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, please go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net, and you get a free e-copy of my book. Let me see here. Okay, because that's what I believe. I believe it takes the village, and we're going to raise the bar. No more, ignorance and coonery are not allowed in this space. So here's what we did a poll, right? We did a poll on Your Black World, which is, admittedly, people have a very Black identity on Your Black World. Like, these are not, we don't attract like, the Angela Rye's of the world, or the or the Roland Martins, or the people that are too bougie, too mainstream. No disrespect to Roland, but people like him don't come along. We attract Black people who really, really, really want to be Black and are really happy to be Black. And but we did do a poll, and we asked them. We said two key questions that I thought were really important. One is, they were asked, do you think racism is playing a role in the way R. Kelly and Michael Jackson are being portrayed in media right now? 90% of the respondents, about 1,500 people voted, 90% of the respondents said yes. So 90% of you believe that there is racism in the way Michael Jackson and R. Kelly are being portrayed. Now, here's the other interesting question I wanted to ask, because I wanted to kind of get a sense of how people feel. I said, do you believe R. Kelly has ever had sex with underage girls? The vast majority, 87% of you said yes. So 87% of you believe R. Kelly's guilty, but 90% of you believe that there's racism in the way he and Michael Jackson are being portrayed. I think that's really interesting. Now, I think Jackson's case is a little more ambiguous, but again, we all knew. Let's just be real. How many of y'all knew Michael Jackson was a little weird from the jump? How many of y'all always knew he was like a little strange, right? And with both of these guys, you go back to when they were kids, and R. Kelly, getting molested when he's 7. Michael Jackson's daddy gave, basically chemically castrated him, and so that his voice would stay high pitched, and he never had a childhood. Tell him what happened to that poor little boy, right? So, but anyway, either way, I find it fascinating because what it's saying in the Black community, and this is something that white media is not going to pick up on because they're not intelligent enough, they don't care enough, and they're too racist to see this. Black people see what everybody else sees. Most Black people I know, they see that R. Kelly ain't a normal dude. They see that R. Kelly probably did some stuff that, he should be punished for. No question about it. At least I know I'm in that category too. But they also see that white people are the wrong ones to really address this issue because they're going to address it with racism. They're going to address it under the assumption that Black people are ignorant, that anybody who talks about the racism, oh, you're defending R. Kelly, you're defending a child molester, you want Black girls to get raped. Ain't nobody saying that. Nobody has said any of that. Most people I know, tell me if you agree, talk Black to me. Vicky Dilla's in here, so I'm gonna use her phrase. I love using Vicky's phrase. I hope it's okay, Vicky. I hope you ain't mad at me for it. But you talk Black to me on this. Seriously, most of us, would not let R. Kelly around our kids. At the same time, most of us watched that Gayle King interview and said, that's some bullshit. Most of us watched that documentary and said, okay, that part of that's crazy, but then part of that's bullshit, right? Most of us sit back and we see the Oprah Winfrey decision while Oprah is going out of her way, like literally raising her hand, volunteering to go and further tarnish Michael Jackson's legacy. We're like, come on now, Oprah, you ain't got to do that. It ain't that Michael Jackson lived a perfect life, but it's like, can't somebody else do the damn job? Must you always volunteer to be the slave that pulls out the whip? Seriously, like, do you really have to tell Massa that you're willing to whip the slave because Massa is scared to do it himself? So I think that's the issue. That's where Oprah became a white woman. It's like, goddamn, Oprah, like, sit your chubby ass down and let white people do their own dirty work. Why are you volunteering to do this? It's gonna get done. They're gonna come. The lynching is gonna happen. They gonna get. I'm gonna tell you, no Black man is safe if you're in the eyes of the white media and you have a pristine image. You're not safe. You're just not safe. They're gonna find anything they can find in your background that's gonna make you look bad, so that they can destroy whatever image you built up. They're gonna do that. They could do that to anybody, actually. They could do that to anybody. So everybody, tell me if you agree with this. Imagine if I went through with a microscope and interviewed every single person that you've ever known, looked into every single thing you've ever done, looked at every parking ticket, every time you got in trouble, every time you had bad credit or declared bankruptcy, every time you stepped on a cat, every time you broke your boyfriend or your girlfriend's heart. Every time you did anything every time you made a D on a test. And imagine that. Imagine if I went through with a fine tooth comb and checked every single thing you've ever done, good or bad. Would I have the ability to make you look bad if I was creative enough? Like, would I have the ability to pick one thing, maybe two things, and say, oh my God, Jimmy White, we found out that in 1998, Jimmy White was an abuser. His ex-girlfriend is on the air right now. She's going to come on and do an interview and tell us about how Jimmy White lied to her. He lied because Jimmy White is a sexual predator and he wanted to have sex, and then he dumped her. And after he dumped her, he went and she saw him with another woman, and he was emotionally abusive. And blah, 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 right? Like I could literally do a whole documentary about, I saw Jimmy White, I saw you in here, bro. I'm just grabbing your name. But literally, I could do a whole expose on what a terrible person Jimmy White is. And all I got to do is go get about 5 people that don't like Jimmy. Get 5 people. Vicky Dillard is a wonderful woman. One of the best, most precious spirits I've ever met in my life. But I bet you that if I looked hard enough, I could find 5 people who will paint a picture of Vicky that will make her look like the devil. Like it's easy to do. It's what they call in statistics, they call this selection bias. What selection bias is where you cherry pick the shit that you want to say about somebody, and you pile it all together and it looks like a bunch of shit. It looks like a bunch of like horrible, horrible stuff. Now with R. Kelly, did they do that? Did they do the cherry picking? Yeah, they did. But the difference with R. Kelly is that there's a lot more cherries that you can pick from, right? There's a lot, I mean, the man has a complex past. And I told you guys, again, the majority of you from the poll, the majority of you believe he has had sex with underage girls, which right there is bad enough that I stopped listening to the man's music 18 years ago. I said, I can't support this, right? But the thing about it is that, people, when you talk about an R. Kelly, at the end of the day, you must understand this about justice. Only intelligent Black people are going to get this. Idiots are going to think, oh, you're defending R. Kelly. Oh, you're saying he's a good guy. Intelligent Black people are going to understand this, that justice is not just about how you treat the innocent. Justice is also about how you deal with the guilty. Justice is just as much a matter of how you deal with the guilty as it is how you deal with the innocent. So with R. Kelly, you're probably dealing with a man who is guilty of doing some things that he shouldn't have done. R. Kelly is a man who had some sort of an addiction, 2 young girls that came from his childhood. It's no different from a drug addiction or whatever. And what he did, he's wrong. He's dead wrong for that. But what people must understand as well, and at least this is my theory on this, my opinion, the core issue with R. Kelly, the only issue that matters at the end of the day is, if you want to ask, did you sleep with young girls? At that point, all the other stuff is an embellishment. All this stuff about, you brainwashed grown ass women and tricked them into loving you by whatever it is that you're doing, and we have the right to judge that. How dare you tell grown ass people who they're allowed to date? I don't tell Gayle King's ass, which I believe, a lot of these people are gay. Gayle, I mean, you really see, how often you see Gayle out with a man? Who's Gayle's husband, right? Gayle and Oprah, the rumors have been around for a long time, and I'm sure they would agree with this. Nobody has the right to tell a man that you can't go stick your penis in another man. Ain't nobody got a right to tell you who you can and cannot love. So how are you going to tell R. Kelly and his girlfriends who came on TV and said, we love this man, this is our boyfriend? Or how dare you sit there and judge him? Remember, Gayle was asking very judgmental questions that had nothing to do with the core issue. Judgmental questions like how much younger than you are they? It ain't none of your goddamn business. There ain't nobody asking you if you ate somebody's pussy in your life. Ain't nobody judging, the gay man for deciding that he wants to go to a nightclub and have sex with some dude in the bathroom. Ain't nobody allowed to judge that. So you don't have a right to judge whether some older dude is dating a 21-year-old. All that matters is that she's legal. That's all that matters. Seriously. That's not your right. And so no, you can't judge this man's girlfriends. I mean, if he got it like that and the young girls love him, he can sing and all that shit, right? So people fall for that, right? People go for that. If that's what he's got going on in his life, that's his decision. Well, wait, you're dating both of them? Like when he said he had, like they were both his girlfriends. She had that snarky look on her face. It ain't, again, none of your goddamn business. He ain't got a right to ask you if you trying to go and get between some woman's legs. So you don't have the right to judge whether he's deciding he wants to get between the legs of 2 women. Seriously, that's his life. And that ain't got nothing to do with the issue. That was a distraction from the issue. And what it did was it opened the door for additional judgment to be cast, where you're basically saying to middle America, you're saying, here's this man, here's the Black man, that right there makes him scary and everything else. He's a reflection of this R&B, hip hop, urban culture, which they're already afraid of. We believe that he's had sex with young girls in the past, underage girls, which we know is wrong. That's illegal, not acceptable. We can all agree on that. But he's also a dirt bag. He cheats, and he has more than one girlfriend, and he's dating these young girls. He doesn't even date women his own age, and that comes back to what they generally, what that does is that triggers them because they're mad about some man that they were interested in who was 45 or 50 like them, and the 50-year-old man wanted to chase after young women. Again, is that right or wrong? I don't know. but nobody has the right to judge who somebody chooses to love, unless the person they choose to love is against the law. We've agreed that underage women or underage men is against the law. But but we also remember there's some countries where it's against the law for a man to put his penis in another man. I mean, let's just be clear about that, right? I mean, if you ask a lot of people, like, which is nastier, a 20-year-old dating a 17-year-old, or two dudes, in the bathroom raw dogging it, because they just want to have sex with another man. Some people would say that the latter bothers them more than the former. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not judging. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm just telling you that there's a lot of ways you can flip that apple. There's a lot of ways you can look at this. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button on the conversation. These are hardcore, raw conversations for intelligent Black people. Ignorant people should probably leave the room, because I'm going to hurt your feelings and I'm going to offend you. These are not politically correct discussions. These are discussions where we're seeking truth. That which is correct is not always politically correct, because half of all political correctness is bullshit anyway. It's socially engineered, it's manufactured, it's nonsense. Somebody also asked, what's the phone number where you can get a text alert when I go live? The phone number is 31996. So if you type Boyce in your phone, and it's really important so that I can alert you when we go live, because you never know when YouTube or Facebook is going to shut us down. Text the word Boyce to 31996, 31996. Okay, so here's another thing that was interesting, that I just kind of peeped out when I was watching the whole thing go down with R. Kelly, and then Alicia, my woman, the woman I love, she had me watching this damn Leaving Neverland documentary of Michael Jackson, and I was like, I can't watch this shit, not because I don't feel for these people, but I'm about to vomit. I'm about to throw up. Like, I don't want to hear about a little boy spreading his butt cheeks and all that shit, to men touching each other's nipples. I can't. I said I'm gonna eat soon, and it literally will make me vomit. I don't want to watch any more of this. Okay, you're telling me Michael Jackson might have touched some little boys. I suspected that 25 years ago when he was on trial for touching little boys. Thank you for telling me this. I'm going on with my life now. I don't want to hear the details. It's too much. So anyway, so we were looking at this, and then the R. Kelly stuff. We were checking out this, and next thing I noticed was that the Savage girl, or her name's Jocelyn Savage, and the other person that they're dating, R. Kelly, in this weird relationship, whatever they're doing, and they went on TV and they basically said that our parents are lying, that my dad told me to lie to R. Kelly and tell him that I was 18, that my dad was the one who told me to get on stage with R. Kelly, that my parents wanted me to be his protege, and that was consistent. Again, did somebody tell them to say that? I don't know, but you don't know if somebody told the parents what to say, what they're saying, right? Like, I mean, really, if you want to play the whole like they were brainwashed game, and that's why we believe they're lying, you could play that with anybody. You could say, well, maybe when these parents go on TV, they've been brainwashed, and somebody told them what to say in order to get money out of R. Kelly, right? You could say that about anybody, right? You could say that about everybody in the documentary. They were brainwashed by the network, and they knew the network. They knew that if they did not give them the story they wanted to hear, the network was going to cut their money, or the network was not going to put them on the show, which would not allow Sparkle to sell her album or whatever it is that they're promoting, right? Like, and so they felt pressured to go and make something up, right? Like you could play the brainwashing game all the way around. So all you have the ability to do, all you can do, is hear what people say and take it at face value and weigh it against the other evidence. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. So when these young ladies went on TV and they're basically going out of their way to defend their boyfriend or whatever they feel like R. Kelly is, and they're telling the whole story. They're saying that what a lot of us suspected, that that their parents wanted them to be around R. Kelly. Their parents wanted them, they wanted to go on this paper chase, this money grab, this clout chase. That's what they were doing. Their parents brought them to the R. Kelly concert. She said, my dad told me to tell him I was 18, right? Dream Hampton needs to explain What was it? Dream Hampton helped with Jay-Z Decoded. Yeah, well, Dream Hampton is not a good person. Dream Hampton is not a, she's one of the producers or one of the main people that made the documentary. Dream Hampton does have an agenda. That does not mean R. Kelly is a good person now. But the reality is that if you want to look, if you're gonna, to me, if you're gonna throw out dirty laundry in one direction, you got to throw it out in every direction. If you're gonna talk about, if you're gonna talk about Kelly and things that he's done, which I think he's going to be held accountable for these things. You got to talk about everybody. Tell me about everybody's dirt. Give me the deal on everybody. Explain to me how these parents ended up with their daughter begging to go on stage with R. Kelly. I need to understand that part because I don't get that. Regular parents don't do that. Regular parents are not taking their children to R. Kelly concerts. So what was the motivation here? Why are we overlooking that? Why are we acting like the daughters could be, could be lying or brainwashed or whatever, but the parents, clearly the parents had some sort of ridiculously stupid influence on them that led them to even get involved in all of this in the first place. So, the thing that's fascinating about the whole conversation with the girls or the young ladies is that when they were talking, there were people who said, oh, they got Stockholm syndrome. Oh, they're brainwashed. Oh, we shouldn't believe them. But didn't the feminists, now I want you to pay attention, didn't the feminists recently, not too long ago, have a hashtag that they were promoting called Believe Women? Do y'all remember that? Anybody remember? Tell me if you remember that. That when they were really started with the Me Too movement and they started talking about, women were coming out saying, oh, he touched my booty 30 years ago, or oh, I got raped, I have no proof. I didn't call the police. I didn't tell anybody, but now I'm getting, I'm going to go and tell you, even though, and the fact that I might get millions of dollars from this, or I'm getting a lot of publicity from this or whatever, that has nothing to do with it. I can't possibly be vindictive. I'm a victim, right? And then what did they do? When people started asking questions, when people were like, well, where's your proof? Like, you got to prove these things. I mean, these are pretty heavy accusations. What did they say? What hashtag did they use? The hashtag was Believe Women. Believe Women. Type that in. Type that in. Like, type in. Let's use the hashtag. Let's push the hashtag so people who follow the hashtag will come to the video. Believe Women. Right? What did that mean? What did that mean? Well, Believe Women meant that if a woman tells you something, if she tells you that something happened, you should just believe her. Now, do I agree with that? You should just believe somebody because of their gender? No, that's stupid. Like, like if you're dumb enough to believe anything a man says just because he's a man, like that's kind of crazy, right? The credibility of the individual matters, right? But Believe Women, again, part of the whole white liberal social engineering process where they try to socially engineer how people think. I mean, they're the ultimate pimps, the ultimate brainwashers, in the sense that they'll push an agenda, push a message that is completely, that's full of bullet holes. It's got all kinds of holes in it, but they'll push it as if it's gospel and they expect you to believe it. So they're trying to brainwash you no differently from the way some people feel that R. Kelly's brainwashing those young ladies, right? So they're pushing this hashtag, Believe Women, Believe Women, Believe Women. Well, I'm watching Jocelyn Savage and I'm like, okay, I guess we'll believe women. Should we believe women? No, don't believe those women. Don't believe those. No, they're brainwashed. They're better. So you're telling me, I think what you're saying now, if I'm getting this right, you're saying we should believe women when they are saying things that are consistent with your agenda. Your agenda right now is to make sure that this black man gets lynched in public. And again, I'm not defending R. Kelly, but again, justice ain't about how you defend the innocent. Justice is equally about how you defend the guilty, right? So R. Kelly is not a good man, but you're denying the due process. You're trying to do this public lynching, and that's your agenda. And because they're not saying things that are consistent with your agenda, because they didn't go on TV and say, oh yeah, you're right, he does have us locked up in a bathroom, and he's feeding us dog food, and he beat me because I asked him what the weather was like outside. Like, because he does not fit your image in your mind of the black man as a perennial, irredeemable monster, then, it's like their attitude goes from Believe Women to, oh, fuck them hoes. Don't believe them bitches. Like that's what they're like. Oh, don't listen to them bitches. They stupid. They brainwashed. They got Stockholm syndrome. Well, maybe that's the case. I'm not going to say Stockholm syndrome doesn't exist. I'm not going to say it's not real. But I am going to say that if we believe women, and I just believe what people say, if you're a grown ass person and you tell me what you want to do, you tell me that you want to date that person or whatever, I might not agree with the decision, but I have to take you for face value. I have to believe that for whatever reason, you're choosing to be in that relationship. I have a friend now, a dude who started dating a woman, and I was like, I don't think you should date her. She's not very, she's not a very good woman. And then he would tell me all these great things about her and what he loved about her and all that. And I figured it out. I'm a real man. I'm a black man. I was like, I said to myself, I said, oh, I get it. I said, you hypnotized by the pussy. That's what she done dropped it on you. And you now got Stockholm syndrome on that vagina. Like she got you clamped in between her legs because you loving that sex so much. And that's what's making you think that she should be your wife. And I was like, okay, well, good luck. I hope that works out for you. But so am I thinking that he's been deceived, or am I thinking that he's making a bad decision? Like just like the girls that are dating R. Kelly, I don't think that's a good decision to date R. Kelly. Do I think it's a bad decision? Yes. But do I feel like I have a right to run around and say, oh, well, he's not, this isn't what he really means. No, you shouldn't listen to him. You don't take him seriously. He doesn't really want to be with her, but no, it's like, well, I mean, all of us become fools for love at some point. All of us. Tell me right now, if you've ever been suckered into a relationship with somebody that you knew you shouldn't have been with. Has anybody ever done that? Has anybody ever dated somebody and then the minute you finally wake up, you know what I'm talking about? When you wake up and you realize that they ain't shit and you walk away, and then your parents and your friends and your siblings and everybody's coming and they're telling you like, oh, I knew he wasn't shit to begin with, or I knew she was bad for you. I hate that. It drives me crazy because I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, y'all knew that this woman was garbage from the jump. Y'all knew she didn't like me. Y'all knew that she was a gold digger. Y'all knew that she didn't have my best interest at heart, and y'all ain't say nothing till it's over. What kind of friends are y'all? But really, the reality is the reason they didn't say anything is because if they had said anything, do you think I would have listened to them? Do you think I would have listened to them? If I'm sitting and I'm hypnotized by her shapely body and her beautiful eyes, and I'm thinking this woman really loves me, do you think that if you came and you told me the truth about this woman and what you were really seeing, do you think I would have seen them as a friend or as an enemy? I probably would have saw him as an enemy. I probably would have been like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. You need to quit, get out of my business, leave me alone, blah, 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 right? I had to learn that on my own. And so I don't understand why those relationship rules that we know apply universally, those rules, that handbook of rules that all of us have lived in our own lives, I don't know why we don't think that can't also apply to the relationships R. Kelly is having with women. Where again, I don't think R. Kelly is a great person to be in a relationship with. It doesn't seem that way. But for whatever reason, they've decided they want to be with him for the last not and they haven't been dating him for like 2 weeks. They've been dating this man for like a couple years. So my thought is all I can do at that point is, if you're a young lady, you tell me I'm in love with Kel and I want to be with him. I can tell you the things. I'd be like, well, he's probably got like 18 STDs and he's crazy. And I heard these other things and I heard this and heard that. And he's a player and he's going to get around. Blah, blah, blah. And if you're still okay with that, then all I can do is say, I wish you the best of luck. Good luck in your relationship. That's it. So I think that when you talk about this whole thing with the young ladies going on and talking about R. Kelly and everything else. I don't like the idea that somehow we're concluding like, okay, if they were coming out and saying something terrible, if they were saying, yeah, he's locking us in the closet, he beat my ass yesterday, he's a terrible person, he's psychologically manipulative, they would love that. They'd have that blasted everywhere. They'd be retweeting it. They'd be like, see, this is evidence that he is a creep, blah, 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 blah. But when they come out and they say, actually, there's another side of him. Actually, in your documentary, Dreamhampton, you weren't balanced. You didn't get the entire picture of Kelly. You got one snapshot of him that doesn't reflect the entirety of what it's like to be with this man. Again, because here's the thing, you can't presume that being in a relationship with this dude is always horrible, always bad, always terrible. You can't presume that the first day he meets you on the first date, he's trying to lock you up in a bedroom and feed you dog food and beat your ass because you asked what time it is, right? That doesn't happen. There's a reason why some of these women, some of whom are not stupid, are happy in the relationship with this man. Maybe it's the quality of the sex. I don't know. I mean, some people like that freaky, crazy stuff, right? Maybe they love men who can sing. Maybe he is 6'3" and handsome and has a little bit of money in his pocket, right? Not as much money as he should have, but maybe that's appealing, right? We can't pretend like there's not a reason why women are attracted to R. Kelly. So I'm just trying to say to you that when you talk about these things, when you do these documentaries, when you do all these, shows and exposés, the part I hate about it is that there's not enough balance. Like I don't want you to tell me that a person is one-dimensional. Anytime you tell me that a person is one-dimensional, I'm not gonna believe you. Anytime if you tell me a person's an angel all the time and they're wonderful all the time and they treat everyone wonderfully all the time, I'm gonna say that's bullshit. They done did something horrible in their life. Stop telling me that they're perfect, right? Same way on the other end. If you tell me, oh, they're the devil, they're horrible, they want to murder people all the time, and they've never done a good thing in their life, I'm not gonna believe that either. And I think that that's what you miss. That's why those documentaries are not designed for smart people. Those documentaries are designed for dumb people, racist people, whatever, easily manipulated people. They're designed for one-dimensional thinkers who aren't going to question what's presented in front of them. And that's what I saw when I saw the whole R. Kelly thing. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, please text the word Boyce to 31996 if you want to be notified when we go live. And also, if you want to support this platform, you can feel free to become a patron at intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. And I also want to remind everybody, don't forget the All Black National Convention is happening in the month of September. We were going to do it in Philadelphia, but we're thinking we're going to go ahead and do it in either Birmingham or LA. We're weighing two venues right now. I know it's kind of late in the game, but we're gonna have that done. So the All Black National Convention is an awesome convention that really allows us to come together, to be intelligent, to connect as family, to learn how to start businesses, but to also learn about relationships and politics and all these other things. So it's really an extraordinary thing. So feel free to check that out when it's ready. I'll let you guys know when we have everything laid out. The last thing I want to lay out or mention to you is I read an article on CNN this morning. And I was reading, every now and then I like reading what, racist white people have to say about Black issues. And so I checked out CNN. I don't think CNN is an unbiased publication. I think they're very biased, and they have their point of view. But I found it interesting to observe what sorts of op-eds they were going to present when they talked about the R. Kelly stuff and the Michael Jackson stuff like that. One of the articles I saw, and I believe this article was written by a Black person because they wrote it from almost a position of familiarity with the Black community. I found that to be fascinating. But it was an article where they were explaining or claiming to explain why people still love Michael Jackson, why people still love R. Kelly, right? Or why people defend them. I think that's what it was, why they defend them. So I would consider myself in the space of people that defend them, but not because I believe they're innocent. Again, even the guilty deserve a defense. Even the guilty deserve fairness, right? So I'm a defender that's a little bit confusing to people. Simple-minded people don't understand where I'm coming from. I seem confusing. They're like, wait a minute, how you gonna sound like you riding with R. Kelly, but then you saying he's guilty? Well, because I believe he's guilty, but that doesn't mean that the people that are attacking him are not racist, right? So I was reading this article, and in the article, I picked up on that the whole premise of the article in terms of explaining why people might defend R. Kelly or why people might defend Michael Jackson is basically, it was sort of written as Black people fell in love. We fall in love with images of other Black people on TV, and we don't want to let that go, right? So they basically said in so many words, in my opinion, that Black people are just stupid, that we can't see the truth, that we don't know how to do analysis, that we don't know that we just decide somebody's a legend, and we don't want to touch, anything that is going to tarnish that legacy. I to me, that article was a complete microcosm of exactly why these racist media outlets are so ignorant in the first place. It was a perfect example of the ignorance of these white racist media outlets. Why is that? Well, because they talk about you like you're farm animals. They talk about you like you are rats in a lab, and they're analyzing your behavior. And they're like, oh, look at the Negroes. The Negroes are doing this. And it's clear that they're doing this because that's what Negroes do in the springtime. They like to gather so they can have mating season. And then they go over here because there's food, right? And here's the thing. Rather than analyzing why people think the way they think, a person that really respects you is going to ask you what you think. They're going to come talk to you and say, give us a point of view. Help us understand your perspective on this. Dr. Watkins, it sounds to me like you're defending this R. Kelly guy. And how can you defend somebody that has, where all this proof is out there that he slept with these underage girls? And then I can explain it to you. You know, educating white people is a little tough. You know, sometimes some of them can be a little dense, but we can work with them. You know, they'll catch up to us eventually, right? So I will take that time to explain it. But the thing is, they don't usually take the time to ask you what you think. They only take the time to condemn you for your perspective. They don't take the time to understand where you're coming from. They only take the time to tell you that you're ignorant. Right? They don't they don't really care what the explanation is, because they're like, well, whatever perspective you have, it can't possibly supersede my perspective. So I'm not even going to ask you your point of view. I'm just going to tell you why you're wrong. That's white supremacy. White supremacy is partly communicated through the idea that white is right and everything else is wrong. So you come with a different point of view. You come in, you're on YouTube, and somebody gets 100,000 views on a video where they're giving a whole different perspective from what you hear on CBS. And the person is smart. You know, my PhD is very real. I didn't get it on the internet. I didn't get it on the weekends. I went to school till I was 31 years old and studied 10 hours a day. So I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm not an idiot. I'm smarter than 99.9% of all white people that I've ever met. But rather than going deeper and trying to understand a point of view different from your own, you just condemn it outright without any further investigation. That shows me a couple of things. One, that you are corrupt. Two, that your racism leads to your ignorance and causes you to miss out on other points of view. And three, you're a white supremacist, which basically says that we don't really care what the niggas think. We're going to have our point of view, and that's all there is to it, right? So black folks are listening to what they're saying, but they're not listening to what you're saying. And ultimately, they pay a price for that. Like right now in the Democratic Party, they're paying a huge price for the fact that they are completely out of touch with what rank and file black people want. They're completely disconnected to what people are saying in the ADOS movement. They're like, oh, these are Russian bots, and oh, they're ignorant, and oh, these dumb Negroes don't they're not even taking the time to investigate. Because to me, if I were them and I was really trying to figure out what's going on and why I'm losing all these damn votes, why I'm losing 10 million votes per hour, I would be trying to get Vicky Dillard on my show and be like, Vicky, what do these people want? What do they need? What do we got to do to figure this out? Like, how do we find common ground? Vicky, help us, please. Right? That's what I would be doing. Right? They ain't doing none of that. They would rather act like you don't even exist, which is to their detriment. But that's what white supremacy does, is white supremacy causes you to do ignorant things that ultimately come back to bite you in your ass. Like when you are racist like that, when you want to act like, 20 million people don't exist, then it comes back to bite you. And I don't think they understand that. So I would encourage them, if you don't understand a perspective that's different from your own, go listen to that other perspective. And I'm saying that to everybody in this room. I love to listen to people who disagree with me. I love it because I'm like, how can you come to that conclusion? Give me some information that I don't have. It doesn't take away from what I believe, but it helps me to have a more complete perspective on everything. So I love to talk to a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter, but tell me what made you vote for Trump? Oh, it's abortion. You don't believe that you can't support any candidate who believes that a child should be aborted. Got it, right? Okay. Oh, it's because you don't like the Me Too movement, or oh, it's because you're mad at Obama, right? Like that. That to me is fulfilling, because I don't want to just sit around and listen to a bunch of people who repeat what I just said. Like, that's not going to help me grow. That's not going to help me grow. But again, only intelligent Black people are going to get this. Ignorant people are going to say, oh boy, you're just full of shit, man. I don't like what you got to say. Well, the reason you don't like what I got to say is because A, you can't prove me wrong because you ain't smart enough. And B, you're mad because you basically, I'm not saying what you're hearing on repeat on every radio station, every TV station, and in every white newspaper you read. So you need to expand your thinking and grow your mind and understand that other perspectives benefit you. They're not harmful. They're not a threat to you. They allow you to grow and to actually be intelligent. But then again, you know, who am I? I'm just a dumb Negro talking on the internet. So let me bounce out of here, guys. Do me a favor. Before you go, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe at drboycetv.com. If you're not at drboycetv.com, please subscribe. Also, if you want to learn about, you know, investing and stuff like that, you guys know I teach a great stock market investing class. If you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, a lot of money is being made over there. It's been made for years. I can teach you everything very, very quickly. Feel free to go take a look. The program is at theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Somebody please type that in, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Last but not least, if you want to check out my books are called The New Black Power. There's part 1, part 2, and part 3. We have Powernomics. We have all different kinds of books that you can buy that will help you and your family to gain a Black perspective. So if you are interested in the books or our financial flashcards for children or any of that, please go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. Thank you guys for a lively and enjoyable conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. I respect you, even if you disagree with me, and I love you, and I will be back very, very soon. So you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.